Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Noelle and today I'm going to be going over the top 5 books that I read in 2021. So these are my ride or dies, my 5-star reads. I'm pretty picky about which books I rate 5 stars, so these books were it for me. I read a decent amount in 2021. I think I read about 40 books, which I know to some people that's like nothing, but for me that was a lot because before 2021 I just didn't have that much time to read. I was in college, and recently graduating really helped me have extra time to be able to do that. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The first book that I am going to be talking about is none other than November 9 by Colleen Hoover. If you do not know who Colleen Hoover is by now, I'm sorry, but you need to pick up one of her books as soon as possible. I highly recommend November 9. This book was amazing. It was a 5-star read. I tabbed the ever-living shit out of it. Like, it was just so good. I felt like I had to remember everything. So I just tabbed literally like every, I don't know, like 5 pages. Shout out to my friend for getting me these little like tabby things for my birthday. Thank you. I have been using them. Yeah, let's get into the book and why I loved it so much. Okay, so this book starts out when Fallon, the main female character, is out to eat with her dad on November 9th. There's this guy who's sitting in the booth behind her. Her dad is being extremely rude to her. Fallon is actually out to eat with her dad because she's telling him that she's planning on moving away. She wants to move to Broadway to follow her dreams. LA just isn't really an option for her anymore. 2 years ago on November 9, there was a huge tragedy that Fallon went through, and it kind of put a halt on her acting career. It put a halt on her dreams and her aspirations. So she is now deciding to move to Broadway so that she can live that out in another way. And her dad is not taking it well at all. He's being the worst. This guy in the booth behind her named Ben hears this happening. He kind of steps in and is like, hello. When this is going on, her dad kind of brings up, oh, like you need to date more and blah, blah, blah. And Ben steps in and acts like, he's like, hello, nice to meet you. I'm Fallon's boyfriend. Her dad's like, what? And so anyways, they have lunch. Ben kind of is there for her. Once the dad leaves, they decide to spend the rest of the day together. They have just the best day ever, but there's one big problem, right? Fallon is moving to New York. So she's currently in LA, as I said before, and they really like each other. So they're like, what do we do? They kind of create a plan. So Ben is a novelist. He's, aspiring to be an author. So he comes up with this idea for a great story, and it involves Fallon. So basically, he says, okay, we are going to meet up on November 9th every year, no matter what. Rain or shine, no matter who or what is in our lives, whatever is going on, we are meeting up on this day every year. No questions asked. So they do it. They meet up every single day on November 9th of every year until one year something happens, and then it throws kind of a wrench in the plan, and just, I can't really say anything other than that. There's like a couple plot twists, but there's one big major plot twist. Every year you're like, oh, just like be together. Fallon, just stay, or like Ben, like go to New York. But it's like frustrating to read, but that's part of what makes it so good. Just the character growth in this book. Fallon is so strong. The stuff that she had to go through, she is like one of my favorite females I've ever read about. Obviously, I rated it 5 stars. These are my top books of 2021, so I rated all the books I'm talking about 5 stars, but you need to read this. I don't even know how to describe this book. I feel like I'm doing it injustice, but yeah. I also did read it a while ago. I read it on November 9th because I'm such a mood reader, and I felt like I would be more invested and connected if I read it on November 9th. So that is that. You need to read it. And if you want to see my review, I also do have a book Instagram where I've done reviews on all of these books. So if you want like a more, in-depth review of like right after I read it, my thoughts, there you go. But that is the first book. Okay, on to the next one. Hey, flamethrowers. So the next book is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I'm sure that you've heard about this. Everyone and their mother has heard about this book and has probably already read it. This book was amazing. Another one of my ride or dies. This was the first book that I read this year that I was like, holy shit, this like actually really got me into reading. It's a workplace rival romance. It's enemies to lovers. Two of my favorite tropes. Also, it's grumpy sunshine. Josh is just this very meticulous, grumpy, very like straight-laced man. Lucy is more of like, she's creative, she's fun, she's nice to everyone. She's just like a fun time to be around. They're just polar opposites, and on top of that, they come from two different companies that merged together, and they are both CEO assistants, so they're around each other all day, every day, 5 days of the week. They hate each other. They are polar opposites. They don't get along. What makes tensions even worse is there is a new position that they are now fighting for. They're both CEO assistants right now, and this would be a huge promotion, so they both are pining after this job, and it really just causes the tensions to rise. But there are some things that happen in this book that cause them to get closer to each other. At one point, Lucy gets really sick, and Josh has to take care of her, and that part, it's just so cute. I don't really want to say much more about this book because, one, everyone has probably already read it, but I don't know what else to say like about the plot without giving it away. So if you really like workplace romance and you like enemies to lovers, you would love this book. Also, this book has amazing banter. Their back and forth bickering was just so funny. I was laughing on my ass for like the majority of the book. It's so cute. Like once Josh actually like starts, like once Lucy understands, what's going on, I don't even know what to say. I love strawberries too, so I just love everything about that book. It is getting darker out. I do not know why I decided to start filming at like 5 p.m. It's fine. The next book that I just absolutely adored in 2021 was All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This was the first Mariana Zapata book that I have ever read, and I loved it. I feel like I'm doing a really bad job at explaining these books because I just love them so much that they leave me speechless, and I don't even know how to like put my thoughts into words. You know what I mean? So give me a minute, and I'm gonna think about this because I need to do this book justice. Okay, so to give a little backstory here, Aurora is the main character. The story follows Aurora and Tobias. The story starts out when Aurora is kind of going through a quarter-life, midlife crisis of some sorts. She has just gotten dumped by her boyfriend, who just so happens to be one of the biggest pop stars in the country. Yeah, she needs to kind of get out of the limelight. So in order to do that and heal, she decides to move back to the town that she grew up in. She hasn't been back there for a really long time because the last time she was back there, tragedy struck and it ended up causing her mother to pass away. I'm not going to say what caused it. Basically, this town reminds her of her mom and the mystery behind her mother's death, and it's just really hard for her to go back to this town. But she's like, you know what? I need a break from reality. I need a place where I can just forget about everything else. And what better place to do that than in Colorado? So she gets to this place, and there's this man and a kid. She's like, hey, I'm here. I'm renting this, loft up here in this garage. Can I start moving in? And the kid is like, oh shit, like, I messed up. And the dad is so mad. So main male character, Tobias, his son rented out the garage behind his dad's back to a total stranger. This dad is super grumpy, just closed off, reclusive. So he is just pissed. He is so mad at Amos. He treats Aurora pretty rudely at first. He does not like her. He does not like the fact that a stranger is staying so close to him and his son. He does not know her. He's like, please stay out of my business. She's like, okay, please let me stay here. I have nowhere else to go. I already paid for this place. Let me stay here and figure it out. Please. He's like, okay, fine, but only for like, I think he says like only for like a month or something like that. Aurora, over time, grows closer to both Amos and Tobias, and her relationship with them is so cute. But how she grows close to Tobias is, one, Tobias just sees that she's not a threat. She is genuinely a nice person who means well. She ends up kind of really helping Amos out in multiple different ways, health-wise, with his passions, his dreams, and she connects with him, and Tobias realizes that and starts really liking her for that. They just start getting close, and it's just so cute because he's so closed off and he opens up to her, so it just makes it so much better. This book is a slow burn, as most of Mariana Zapata books are, so if you do not like that, this book will be painful for you. But honestly, I didn't even know I like slow burn until I read this, and this book is amazing. I'm not like insta-love, but sometimes slow burns are like just, I get bored. But this book, oh my god, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 5. I don't even know. It was so good. It's long, but I read it in like a short time because you just can't stop reading it. When I finished this book, I was so sad because I was so in love with all of the characters. Their relationships with each other are just so wholesome, and this book is amazing, so go read it. Next, we have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This book is, I think it has to be my favorite book of all time. The characters in this book are on another level. They are amazing. This book was so wholesome. I've never read another book like it. I don't even know how to describe this book. The character growth and the emotional vulnerability in this book, and just it's so wholesome and so sweet, and this book was just amazing. This book follows Bree. She moves to this small little town from Ohio. She had lost her dad. I'm not going to say what happened. What happened was horrible. It caused her to have nightmares. She needed to get away for her mental health, and she was worried for her safety. So she moved to this like sleepy little town, like very small, quaint town, where she meets this guy named Archer. So I think she was like going to the grocery or something. Someone like runs into her, Archer. She drops all her stuff. He helps her pick it up, and she's like, thank you. He just is mute, and she's like, that's weird. Like, how rude. That guy's so rude. She starts like kind of hearing about him around town and seeing him around town. She gets really curious. She gets a job at a local diner, and she starts asking people about him. Who is that? Why is he so quiet? She finds out he's mute and finds out a little bit of like why, but he's just super mysterious. A lot of mystery surrounding him. One day, she's on her way back to her house. I think she was like on a bike ride and had her dog with her or something, and her dog ended up running into Archer's gate and onto his property, and she's like, oh shit. She's also really just curious about him, so she's like, oh, okay. And so she goes onto his property, and he is like thinking like, who is this? Also, this book is dual POV, so I loved it for that. I love dual POV. It just makes it so much better. He's super closed off to her at first. Obviously, he can't speak. Bree speaks sign language, so once she figures out he's mute and can't talk, she starts signing to him, and they start getting close to one another. It is not easy for Bree at first. He is a very closed off man. He is very emotionally damaged, and he is just so, when I tell you, he is so ignorant in the most wholesome way. Like, he does not understand how society works because he is a literal recluse because of what happened to him. Him and Bree just start hanging out. They fall in love, and it's just so cute. You have to read it. This book is amazing. The most amazing character growth, development, emotional bonding, just, oh my god, this story. The last 5-star book of 2021, this is the fine print. 5 out of 5 easily. This book is just so good. I literally felt like I was in Disney when I was reading this book. So like, how could I not like it? I love Disney. I just felt like I was in such a happy place the whole time. It was amazing. Also, if you like Grumpy Sunshine, read this book. This book follows Zara and Rowan. Rowan is the grandson of Brady Kane, who is the owner of Dreamland, which is this theme park that the book is revolving around. Zara works at Dreamland. That's how she meets Rowan. Rowan is Brady Kane's grandson. Brady has just recently passed away, so he basically leaves Rowan and his brothers, as well as his father, a plan that says, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to carry out to obtain your portion of the will. They're all already crazy successful, and they're basically like all billionaires. But, I mean, the amount of money is just too much for them to pass up. Rowan is tasked with finding the flaws in a seemingly perfect park. Like, everyone thinks Dreamland is just so perfect, and he's like, how am I supposed to find the flaws in this park? Well, just ask Zara. Zara is this super, like, bubbly, upbeat, happy-go-lucky girl. She's super friendly, just so wholesome, so nice to everyone. She has a lot to say about Dreamland, though, that is not so nice. She works there. She's underpaid. Her and her coworkers know kind of the bad side of Dreamland and what some of its flaws are. When she is kind of talking shit, Brady happens to overhear it, and he's like, what did you just say? So Rowan and Zara kind of start off hating each other because Zara thinks he's stuck up, rich, like cold-hearted, just heartless man. Rowan thinks Zara is this super annoying, too happy, too upbeat for him, and he doesn't like what she has to say. He thinks that the problems that she is stating are issues aren't actually issues. He does not see it that way. Rowan is kind of, as part of his plan to fix some of the flaws in the park and make the park a better place, they are working on the rides and attractions. Zara basically gets really drunk one night and submits a proposal that trashes on one of the it is the theme park's most popular ride and attraction. Rowan reads this and is really taken aback, but he like sees something in her and he's really intrigued, and he hires her. Basically, he hires her to create like a whole new attraction area and kind of help him vamp up the park. They begin to fall for each other. Rowan really hates that he's falling for Zara. He is like pissed, but there's just something about her. It's like so hard to not like her. Also, another thing that I just really loved about this book, Zara's sister has a disability. The way they represented it in this book, like Rowan's relationship with her was so cute. I just loved it so much. It was amazing to read. It just added a whole extra layer of love to this book for me. Overall, just 5 out of 5. Go read this book if you like Grumpy Sunshine or theme parks or hot rich guys. So yeah, these were my top 5 books I read in 2021. If you're curious on other books I've rated 5 stars and what I'm reading, I do have a Bookstagram, so I will link that down below. Let me know if you have any suggestions based off these books. I am always looking for books to read, even though my TBR is way too long. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.